Welcome to Chad Hates Carbs. Today we're going to do a no-bake Almond Joy. Unfortunately, we do have to use the stove, so not really sure. I guess you're not baking, but you're still having to cook something. Anyway, I did have to make some almond butter for this. I didn't want to put you through the excruciating sounds of the magic bullet making mincemeat of a bunch of roasted almonds, but all I did was I put some almonds. I just used the stuff we get from Sam's, mixed it in, put a little bit of coconut oil in it to get it mixed up, and I left it a little bit chunky because I like chunky nut butters. So I made up enough nut butter for this recipe. So the recipe calls for coconut oil itself directly in a pan, half a cup. So we're going to divvy this out. And I'm never very good at judging this stuff, so bear with me. This stuff it's too cold right now. If this was summertime, this stuff would be melty and you could just pour it out of there. But the melting point is right around room temperature, unfortunately. Let's see, that's close. Not quite. That looks about right. So we just put a half a cup in here. So I have a hard time knowing whether I should be using a liquid measure or a solid measure, because it's kind of both. And it melts basically instantly as soon as you get it in here, because, like I said, the melting point is really close to room temperature. Okay, so that's the coconut oil. Now we're going to put the almond butter in. Again, I left it a little bit crunchy, but again, that's my favorite flavor, is crunch. So yeah, this one is one I've been wanting to try because I love Almond Joys, but obviously not something you can eat on the low-carb diet. So that's why we're trying this out today. Alrighty. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of this stuff in here. More almond is more good, right? Get this all stirred in. Now the idea with this is that we're going to have two different layers. We're going to have a kind of a chocolate layer, and then we're going to have the coconut layer. So right now we're making the chocolate, kind of the chocolate layer. And this is one of those recipes that I really don't like because of the way that they change the names of the ingredients. But we'll figure it out. Halfway through the recipe, it's talking about one thing, and then 3/4 of the way through it, they changed the name of it. So it took me a second to figure out what they were talking about. Okay, so we're going to mix that in. And that's all melted down. Still working on a little bit of the pockets of the coconut oil. If I can find the lid. And then, let's see, we need to stir in the cocoa. And it looks like we need 6 tablespoons of cocoa. And I probably would actually like it a little bit less than that, but I'm not as much of a chocolate fiend as some people, so. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put 2 in, and then I'm going to stir it. Probably would be better if I, stirred it in all at once in one big dump, but I just don't like the idea of having a big clumpy thing in there. I want to get it kind of to get all mixed in. Okay, so that's 2. Come on. I don't know if this is going to actually mix in very well, because this chocolate is sure not. Turn it up a little bit. That's those 2. put in the sweetener yet. Come on now. Let's get mixing. Kind of mushing the chocolate down against the bottom. Hopefully it'll help break it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. It's starting to work a little bit better. If I can not throw this on the counter, it'd be helpful. Okay, so there's 5 and 6. Okay, and then we need 3 tablespoons, or sorry, we need a 1/4 cup of sweetener, and I'm going to use the erythritol. That's it for just a second while I get this. And we only need a 1/4 cup. Okay. Get that stuff going. And obviously the erythritol mixes in a little bit quicker than the chocolate did. Okay, so that's the erythritol. Mix in everything else. That's interesting. Everything else consists of 3 tablespoons of additional sweetener. So I don't know why they thought they needed to separate the 1/4 cup and then 3 tablespoons. I wonder if it's because she just used different flavors. Oh, she's swapping them out. Because she doesn't want to use just one kind of sweetener. I guess I can just throw some Splenda in there. My wife just got these new things, and there's a 1/2 tablespoon measure in this one. So it's exciting. So I can just use 6 1/2 tablespoons. 2, 3, 4. This is a crazy amount of sweetener. I normally don't cook with anywhere close to that amount of sweetener. Okay, let's see. Mix in everything except for vanilla, so we just keep mixing. Mix in until it slightly thickens. Okay, so it is definitely pretty runny, which I guess you would kind of expect. The idea obviously would be that you want to cook off any of the excess liquid to get it to be a little bit more solid so that we can get something. Now, the texture right now is getting a little bit grainy, which is unfortunate, but I'm guessing that that's probably the sweetener doing that. I wonder if I would have used like a swerve that's more the powdered texture, if that would make it less grainy. Because the erythritol is definitely that crystalline type structure. Then again, I don't exactly make candy a lot, so I don't really know. Okay. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it feels like it's getting a little bit grainy on the bottom. I don't think it's supposed to be sticking, so I'm going to turn it down just to low. Continuously stir until it slightly thickens and remove from the heat. Okay. I really hate it when they say things like slightly thickens, because it's like, okay, yeah, it's a little bit thicker right now than it was when we started, but is that what you want, or do you want something different? So, a little bit frustrating. So I just have to guess at what you mean. It's still pretty watery as far as the gloopiness. It's not very gloopy, it's very runny still. And then it says we need to pour in the, stir in the vanilla after removing from heat, which is kind of an interesting thing. Kind of not sure why you don't want the vanilla cooked in here. It seems strange, but I trust their judgment. Still running. Of course, this makes me want to raise the temperature so that it goes faster, but then that probably would burn it. So that's why I don't like things like low heat. You know, it's like, but I guess really everybody's stoves are different, so you couldn't really say put it on 2 and then expect everybody to be able to use it. But if they had a temperature, then I could use a candy thermometer or something and say, oh yeah, low heat means 142 degrees or whatever. See, if I was to talk about the consistency of this, I would still say it's fairly runny, but it is actually thickening up a little bit. It's kind of hard to, I mean, when you just let it drip off, it's still dripping similarly to what it was doing before, but it looks different in the pan. And again, I'm not a pro, so who knows? Who knows whether this is actually what they're talking about, but I'm going to call that correct, because it looks, I don't know, can't really tell quite as much, but it's more of a gooey kind of texture. So we're going to call that good. Turn that off. And then we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, there's a teaspoon of vanilla. Stir that bad boy in there. Smells delicious. Who knew that vanilla and chocolate would smell good together? Okay, so that's that. So then this stuff we need to take. Oh my goodness, that smells fabulous. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find our 8x8. Here's our 8x8 pan. I'm going to pour that in this 8x8 pan. That is some chocolatey goodness right there. I'm willing to bet that if you put a little bit less cocoa in there, it would probably be a little bit less uber chocolatey. So depending on how much you love chocolate, I think you probably would want to adjust accordingly. Since I'm not nearly as much of a chocolate fanatic as some, I could probably get by with maybe 4 tablespoons. You know, so it's just 2/3 as chocolatey. But we'll see. I don't know. Shouldn't really pass judgment until I've eaten it. Alright. So there we go. Got that going. Spread this guy out. And I wish you could smell this. It smells really good. Alrighty. I always hate that there's some left on the spatula. It's always kind of crappy. But the good news is you get to taste it. That's pretty good. Definitely very chocolatey though. Definitely very chocolatey. So then we want to just stick this in the freezer for a couple hours till it's good and frozen. And taste a little bit more of that. Pretty good. Alright, I'm going to get a pad here so I don't put this nice hot chocolate on top of something directly in the freezer, but we'll slip it in here and then we'll see where we end up in a couple hours. We'll work on the topping once that's ready to go. So see you then. So we're back. We've got our nice cold chocolate bits. We're going to leave that there, and then we're going to go ahead and make the topping. So to do that, we're going to melt some more oil in the pan, and it says oil. We're going to go cheap and sub in some butter instead. So we need 7 tablespoons of butter, which leaves just a little tiny bit. Do I just sweetener, vanilla? Doesn't look like there's enough stuff. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and this hurts me to not just use all the butter, but the reason I'm gonna do this is because it seems to me like one of those situations where there's not enough stuff to absorb the rest of the butter. So if we if we have too much butter, it could be just extra runny, goopy mess, and I don't think I want that. So I'll go ahead and slap that butter in there, and let's see, what else do we need? We need to melt the oil in there, and then add the coconut flakes. And we need to have, looks like 1 2/3 cups. So for those of you in 4th or 5th grade, that's 5/3. So we're going to take our third, and we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then because I didn't quite fill them, I'm just going to do that again. Alright, so let's see here. So we're supposed to stir that up once the butter gets all melty. Close up this coconut. Alright, so that's that. So we're going to stir this guy up. This butter a little bit more. Let it get divided up so the pan can be more efficient at melting it. Get more surface area in contact with the pan. Just protect it from the heat from all the other cold surrounding it. Okay. Cooking and physics. Fun. Alright. Let's keep this going. By the way, if you noticed, I'm using the organic coconut, unsweetened coconut, because they didn't have any non-organic. I don't care about the organic part, and I have to pay way more to get something that has no sugar added to it, and that to me seems completely backwards. Generally, when I buy something, I pay extra to get more stuff, so it seems kind of backwards that I would pay extra to not have that stuff in it, but I'm sure that's just because they don't sell nearly as much unsweetened coconut. So, okay, and that is smelling really, really good. Butter's all melted, and it's talking about thickening, but I don't really know what it's supposed to be thickening, because 7 teaspoons of coconut oil, which we did the butter. 1/3 of a cup of granulated sweetener. I guess I haven't. Did I already do that? I don't think I did that. I don't think I added the sweetener. If I did, I'm going to hate myself, but hey, I'm pretty sure I didn't. That's the problem with cooking a lot of stuff in one day, is you forget the things that you've done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down a little bit, because it's starting to brown a bit. I don't think I want it quite. I mean, I like brown stuff, but if I expect anybody else to eat this, I'm going to need to keep it a little bit less toasty than I like. So. Okay, so that sweetener's all mixed in there. Again, this is one of those things when they use terms like thickened. How do you thicken something that's already like just a giant pile of coconut? Not really sure what exactly that means. I'll tell you what though, it tastes really good. Let's see where you at. Okay, melt everything, stir all the crap together. Arrowroot powder, which I didn't do. Yep, there we go. So that's that. I wonder if they just mean like basically no butter / oil on the bottom of the pan, but that seems like a hard thing to really handle. I wonder. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Alright, I'm going to call it good. So it looks like that. It's just this kind of gooey, buttery stuff that, looks good. But again, does thickened mean, not having the butter like kind of dribbling at the bottom? Is that what that means? I don't know. So it says to smooth this mixture on top and then put almonds on top if you want, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to slap this stuff down, spread it around, call it good. And of course then we have to let it sit for a while, which is the hard part. Okay, so let's mix this around. Got too much in that corner. Trying to spread this stuff around a little tough. Because it definitely wants to stick together, which I guess is a good thing. That consistency we were looking for is probably going to do just fine. Okay. So there we have it. Almond Joy stuff. Place bars in the freezer until hardened. So we're going to do that and be back later. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And until then, we'll see. We'll wait impatiently. See you then. Okay, so let's check these out. Been sitting in the freezer for about 3 hours-ish. So let's cut into these and wow, that is rock hard. Which is actually kind of cool. I guess we'll do it on a cutting board. Just come right out. Let's see here. Do I want to use a serrated knife? Let's try a serrated knife. That was probably a mistake. That's delicious. As you can see, it's a little crumbly, but it's definitely really good. It makes me think though that of wondering if you couldn't almost do the opposite, like do the topping and then put the chocolate over it so that it keeps it together, like so that you don't end up with the crumbly bits. I mean, I understand, like, from a aesthetic perspective, this is probably like, hey, look, it's 2 layers, but because even when you eat it, you end up with the chocolate part and the coconut part. Definitely a keeper. This is really, really good. But again, like you can see, it kind of falls apart on that seam readily. So anyway, so that's the no bake almond joys, and hopefully you liked it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.